Hey everyone, and welcome to Westside Collector Car Storage, 6804 South Centinela Avenue, just at the east entrance of Playa Vista, California, a mile and a half from LAX, across the street from the Clippers building, Google, and Yahoo. That's what's up. As you can see, it's quite a lot more done than the last time we were here. It's been a bit of a while since we made our last construction update video. I think there's going to be 5 total. This is number 3. It's taken a little while to get from that video to this video because I was waiting for some key things to be done so I could show them to you, and it's taken a while to get them done. Between the holidays, some rain in December, we had some setbacks, but we're looking good now, so let's go take a tour. Here we are in our front driveway, and we're blocked off here with the fence still right now because the actual, one of the last things we're gonna do is physically build the front driveway. But here's what's important. In LA, because we don't have sewers and they have to crown the roads and make sort of gutters out of the edge of the roads where they meet the sidewalk, we have these very funky driveway laws here. The street side of your driveway has to meet the street. The inboard, let's call it, side of the sidewalk has to meet the top. So you're forced into a certain type of angle. If you're not from LA, you might not have any idea what I'm talking about. If you are from LA, you're nodding your head right now because it's what made me had to build those stupid ramps back in the day for my Corvette. If you remember that from the early TST days, that's the driveway angles, right? Westside Collector Car Storage, no problem, because if you can see, and if I squat down, I can really see it. Instead of the 4 feet standard width and draw of that sidewalk, which would necessitate a certain angle, we've gotten a variance to draw it back to here. We've got a 15-foot variance, which means my driveway at WCCS is about a 1/6 as steep as my neighbor's driveway just next door. So that special variance is one thing that has helped us prepare for low collector cars. It's the same thing in the back, at the top of the ramp we talked about in the other videos. We have to repave that back alley, and I'll show it to you in a minute, but we're gonna create a beautifully smooth angle, so it's you can only do it if you're building from the ground up because you have to get these special variances. Let's take a walk inside. But first, we're gonna talk about planter boxes. We've got landscaping here for a couple reasons. 1, to look good, and 2, for something I've discussed before. It's called low impact development. And what that means is you have to collect all the rainwater off your roof and filter it through your plants. So we've got a big planter box over here that they've just put the tar sealant on. We've got a big planter box right here that's going to be filled with these plants. And up front, we've got another big planter box. So, those two, no big deal. Standard planter box. Come take a look at this disaster. This runs the whole length of the front of the building, right? It's like 100+ feet long. It was supposed to be simple, folks. Build some blocks, put a concrete foundation, planter. Except the soil underneath this planter was different from the soil underneath the building. It was different from the soil underneath the back alley. So when the guys were digging this out, what happened was they would compact it. You know those compacting machines? They'd compact it, but it just wouldn't compact. It was just too soft. It was the wrong dirt. What happens if you build a concrete box on top of the wrong dirt? It sinks. You have a problem. So they had to keep digging and keep digging till they found the hard enough dirt. Rather than taking like a day and a half to do this, it was 4.5 days. So just this basic planter box, which is a legal requirement, it's not just for aesthetics, cost 5 times as much to build as it was supposed to. So that's just a planter box. That's just one little thing. There's been a lot of stuff in this building where we've had that story. But before we talk more about disasters, let's go inside and look at something really good. A door. A functional door. Without glass, but a door nonetheless. This is our entryway, our lobby, our reception area. I don't really recall, I think it was bare wood when you guys were in here last, but we're gonna have our logo painted on the floor right here. It'll be real cool. Eric, our general manager, is gonna sit right here. We've got a coffee bar going in this wall. The main entrance to our 3-stop elevator is here. Bathroom, and this is gonna be a cool room. I'm gonna have a little, I think I'm gonna get a Honda CBX to put under the stairs here. That's the 6-cylinder Honda motorcycle. Sounds like an F1 car. It's top of my list of motorcycles I'd like to own and not ride. So that's gonna go right there. And some couches down here. What's cool is we're gonna leave this ceiling sort of exposed so you can kind of see the works up there. We're gonna paint it in an interesting way so it's not like just ugly, raw industrial, but it's gonna look really, really cool. But you wanna see, we're gonna go see the goods. Let's go see the cathedral room in here where it starts to get real crazy. So, there's a lot more in this room than last time. Last time we were in here, there was just poles. Now we've got so much. Now we've got trays, both ready to be loaded and some trays that are installed. We've got electronics. We've got fire catwalks. We've got the cross beams at top that connect all of these lifts into a full cage. So come take a look at just one lift. This one. So this is the rear lift here. These are tandems, right? So you've got in front. These trays are installed but not aligned. We're going to get them a little closer. They're going to get a little tighter together. They're not fully done. But what you can see is full tray. So even if your car's on top, there's not going to be any dripping through here, okay? These trays can fit a 15-foot wheelbase, 6,000 pounds with a 7-foot clearance. So roughly a Chevy Tahoe at every level, which is very cool. Old cars from the 50s, most of them will work. One other thing to notice, come over here, Zachary. Each of the, I'm trying to get a good video here. You see these, they're coming down the whole way. These are fire sprinklers. So they're on every lift. So you can see from the top, they come down across the ceiling and down. Every single level will have its own sprinklers. These lifts, if I hadn't said before, there's a lot of firsts in this room. This is the first time these lifts have been installed indoors in Southern California. This is the first time they've been installed over a basement, and it's the first time they've ever been installed with integrated battery tenders. We haven't installed those yet, but there will be integrated battery tenders in these lifts. It's also the most of these ever put indoors anywhere in the world, and I think that's it. I think that's all the firsts, but that's a lot of firsts. Look at these cables that hold the hydraulic system. These are like ski lift cables. They're super, super thick. Control boxes installed at every level. What else should we talk about in this room? Try to ignore the graffiti on that wall. It happened the day after we built that wall, and we're waiting until we finish to clean it, and I've spent a lot of money on security guards ever since. These catwalks up here on the second and third levels, or excuse me, third and fourth levels, believe it or not, I'm not legally allowed, my staff are not legally allowed to go on those catwalks. They're only in Southern California. You have to install those at your own cost, and only in Southern California are you then not allowed to go on them. Firefighters only on those catwalks, and yet you have to have them the entire way through. I don't know if it was fully installed yet. I think the ductwork was sitting on the floor, but our exhaust system is installed both downstairs and upstairs. It's a 36,000 cubic feet per minute exhaust system. What that pretty much means is you could run about 20 cars in this room simultaneously while hanging out and having a cup of tea. It would be no problem. Our intakes for that system are up here in these windows, and we've got 15 panel filters. They're interchangeable for cleaning, and it's a really nice, slick design. If we turn around, oh, actually come down here, look, these are stacked up. So this is how these trays sort of rush and doll into each other. So they're nice, they're pretty thin like this. And obviously when they go up, you know, they only get thinner as you have less of them. We're gonna have a small little portable ramp made. On the rare occasions we do have to get very low cars onto the very top level, but it is very easy to do. So now that these are all set up, you can kind of see really how they're laid out. These go this way, those go that way, and these come sort of at you. These are the VIP quads. So if you want to get into one of these, you got to take all four, all the way up. And then the rest of these are pretty much going to be singles unless somebody requests private quads, in which case the back row, 5 back there and 3 back here, are available for private quads. So people have asked me about, oh, what if my car's on top and I want it down? We've developed an app, the Westside Collector Car Storage app. Couple clicks, your car comes down. In New York City, they use a similar version of these lifts. They're not as beastly for seismic, but they operate the same way, and they run them on the fly. So it takes about 5-6 minutes to get a car down from up top. That's it. So these trays are the front rows, so these are all ready to go in. And then these are the hydraulic pistons for the lifts. Really, really cool. I just like hydraulic stuff. How do you not, really? Sidebar, I was wrong. That stack of metal tubes over there is not the hydraulic pistons. Those are these which connect the cables to the trays. The hydraulic piston is actually this giant black thing here, and it's 30 feet tall. And you can actually see the hydraulic line and control boxes being connected to the back of it there. So, my bad. Not a piston. One of the things we can see up here now that you wouldn't have seen last time is our sprinkler system. There's about 160 nozzles in this room. There's another 100 downstairs. So the fire setup is crazy. The law says 3,000 gallons a minute for our fire system, and we tested, we passed all that. So we're good to go there. This wall behind me, spin around, Zach, this big white drywall separates the main room from the offices, the podcast studio, the members lounge. The importance of that wall is that in California, specifically in Los Angeles, that wall is what's called a 2-hour fire-rated wall. It's ridiculously thick. It's not just a drywall wall. In fact, it's many layers of drywall, plywood, and insulation that leads you to that fire rating. This math may not be right, but I think it's like each layer of insulation or of drywall is 30 more minutes of fire rating. So you have to get to 2 hours. So it's like 6-8 layers of this stuff. That is the entire wall, all the way up, all the way around, including the windows. All of it has to be that 120-minute fire rating to protect the people inside, which it does not take 2 hours to get out of that building, I assure you. I've done it myself. Let's go see upstairs. I don't even think there was a stairs here last time we were here. I think Armin went up on a lift. These stairs were built here. They came in like 6 sections and they built them here. And it's very cool. I don't know. I like them. We're painting them all. They're all going to be black. The stairs, the whole building is black, white, red, and aluminum. Those are our colors. So all this metal is going to be black. You got the big red burgundy F in front. All the window awnings are black. It's going to be awesome. This is our landing areas where our lounge and sort of work area begins. We're going to have a racing simulator in this corner. It's not going to be super, super crazy, but it is going to be cool. But we want to see the studio. Let's go to the podcast studio. 9 years of doing podcasts. We have built a studio. This is it. It's not huge, but it is heavily sound resistant. You can see the hat channel here creating an air gap between the drywall, which provides a lot of your sound resistance. They've also stuffed this wall full of insulation. We're gonna have a nice sound tight door. We have a beautiful black walnut podcast table coming. We have all new mic hardware, all the stuff Rogan uses, so our voices should sound really nice. If you're looking from the outside, we're in the middle of the big red F here. We're gonna have window shade, obviously, but we've got a great view. And of course, we've got a view into the warehouse. Now this, look, you can see this window, safety first, 120-minute fire-rated window. I have 5 of these panes. You could either have these 5 window panes or a brand new Corvette. That's what we're talking about here. That's about how much these cost. Each of these panes is like NC MX5 Cup ready to race, basically, for a piece of glass. And that's for that 2-hour fire rating. So these don't open, which is unfortunate, but I mean, it's like an inch, it's like an inch thick. It's crazy. We're very lucky because they almost tried to make us put that chicken wire in here, which would have really messed up the view. But, and actually from here, I think, Zach, you could probably get a decent view of a series of the trays stacked down there. It's probably a little, yeah. So, But, so this is gonna be the studio. So we've got a big 70-inch going on this wall. We're gonna have outlets coming up from the center, so they go right to the table. We have outlets all around the room as well as data ports. We're gonna have fiber optic internet here, which is great. And we're debating whether we want Zach at the producer's end to be on the window side or to be on this side. Do we wanna look at Zach and then have a monitor over his head, or do we wanna have Zach at the opposite end of the big monitor so he can better monitor the monitor? Zach will be able to probably choose that on his own because we've made the outlets and the ports virtually symmetrical, so we could choose it either way. Let's check out my office. And Zach's office. Zach's gonna get to work in the office too. It's a little darker next door. Let's see if you adjust.
Oh, it's fine.
Adjust?
Yeah.
Great. So here you can see my office, no hat channel. We don't have the soundproofing in here. It's not as important, so I elected to save some money and not soundproof the office. But we do have the beautiful view going out into the main drive aisle of the cathedral room here, as well as out into the lifts here. Unfortunately, yeah, point that down, yeah. So we can see what's in the detail bay, what's coming in and out, all from my office here. And then we're gonna have another big 70 on the wall here with the security camera feed and the whole thing. Couch against this wall, and Zach and I's desks over here. Let's look at the member lounge. This flooring is called Soundcrete. It's sort of like it's a light concrete. You wouldn't use it for construction, but you use it to pour a floor and it absorbs sound, and then you put the pad and the carpet and stuff over it. But it's cool because if you need to like dig out some wiring for an outlet, like if you maybe forgot you might want an outlet in the middle of the room, as I did, they can dig it out and fix it pretty easily. The members lounge is looking really good. I'm really excited about this. This is the members wine and whiskey lounge. And although it is white drywall right now, try and look past that because this room is going to be rich mahogany, reds, sort of the Turkish browns and oranges. It's going to look like a cigar lounge in here when it's done. Most of these, that wall, that wall, that wall, that wall, are all going to be covered in actual mahogany. And then we've got our big library leather swivel chairs, and then one of 2 engine block coffee tables. I've got a Bentley W12 engine block coffee table for this room. We've got a Jaguar Cosworth V8 for downstairs in the lobby. This recession back here is going to be 24 wine and whiskey lockers, members access only with a key. And then we'll have a nice big cabinet humidor on this wall. The deck outside, yeah, we can go out here. Yeah, come on out. Deck outside I'm really excited about. Oh. The deck outside I'm really excited about because you're part of the action up here. I think it's really interesting. There's a lot, believe it or not, there's kind of a lot that goes on out here, and it's kind of fun to watch the world go by. I anticipate some, furniture. Frankly, I haven't gotten to deck furniture yet, folks. I can't do everything. We're gonna get to deck furniture. I promise we'll get to deck furniture when there's deck furniture. Let's go look at more construction. One of the things I'm particularly proud of this building is like some of the attention to detail for stuff you're never gonna see. Like when you go to Koenigsegg and you see them in Engelholm and the carbon fiber weave lines up like behind the headlight. Like only the Koenigsegg mechanic will ever see that. And yet it's done that way. Look at what they did with this electrical conduit here. Like you will see some downstairs in the wash bay too, but the tightness of the conduit, both where you're gonna see it and where you're not gonna see it, it's really good. Like a lot of so many of the tradesmen who have been here, like the rebar guys, the electricians, the conduit guys, the block tossers, like some of these tradesmen are such beasts. Like they're just animals. And they really bang this stuff out. Like our delays have really like never been because our tradesmen were going slow. It was always like permit got held up, or you can't install air conditioning on the roof if it's a rainstorm, like that kind of stuff. We're gonna have a nice, beautiful marble bar. Comes out to about here. Sort of a two-tiered job with a fridge, wet bar, that kind of thing. And then this window right here, this is the best spot in the house because if you've got that VIP quad, you're having your cigar, you're drinking your scotch, you're looking right at it from an elevated position. So that's the primo spot. Let's look at the wash bay. Yeah, so you see this up here, you see this ceiling? We're leaving the rails, but we're not putting the drop ceiling in. So it's a drop ceiling without the tiles. So you're gonna get that sort of industrial kind of pass-through look. And the pattern of the tiles is gonna change from here to the hallway to the thing. So it defines the space from above, which is actually less garish than changing the carpet. So I had to find a carpet that works in a cigar lounge with mahogany, but also works in a drywalled office, you know what I mean? And to do that, the way you would differentiate is actually from the up, which is a strategy I just learned, but I think it's gonna work really well. Did you know that they drywall the inside of an elevator shaft? I didn't know that, but they do. But this is my favorite conduit. Like this is people, and I know we're on a messy construction site, but this is like just folks who really care about getting the job done right. So where we are right now, this is our indoor wash bay, okay? This space serves a couple really neat purposes. One, it's a permitted wash bay. That means we have oil and water separators downstairs, which is something you can only do if you're building from the ground up. We also have an outdoor wash bay just outside this door, okay? They're both drained together. But this bay has the pass-through doors. These doors are lined up, and they're lined up with the front driveway, they're lined up with the rear driveway, so you can drive a truck with a flatbed with a car on it, or a two-car truck and trailer straight through this building and out the other side and unload indoors, so which is awesome. But also, being the wash bay, we're gonna have great overhead lighting here. We're gonna have a compressor in the corner. We've got our water coming from here. We're gonna have that nice deionized water. It's just gonna be a great wash bay. The members will be allowed to use the wash bay, which will be full of ammo products at their will, no charge. And my staff is gonna be trained by Larry in the next month or two to be doing details Larry's way. That's a service we're gonna offer. But as far as construction goes, just look at this conduit, because I love the conduit. The way that this conduit wraps through these pipes and then lines up into the box, and it works its way around this corner just perfectly uniformly in the way it turns up and all of this stuff. I mean, that's just, to me, that's just fantastic. I love that. Isn't that great? So to get in one of these lifts, you would drive in through the front of the back, come down this way, and then you turn around. The entrance is from here. These don't come in from the side. These come in from this way. What else can we talk about that I haven't covered yet? Oh, solar tubes. Here's what's kind of cool. We're standing in this room right now. This building has no power right now. So there's like little crappy, there's like 2 lights on in this room, and they're little construction lights, excuse me, 1 light up there. The rest of this is lit by something called a solar tube, which is like a skylight, but it's a round can with like a mylar inside it, so it actually amplifies the sun. So this whole room is lit by these during the day, so you don't have to run lights at all. Also, as I think I probably said in a previous video, 12-inch CMU block filled with rebar and concrete. We have a totally white, insulated and reflective roof, and then our floor is this very thick concrete. It doesn't matter what the temperature is outside. It is 64 degrees in this room. It's been 100 degrees outside. It's been 48 degrees outside. I've stood in here with no sealed doors and no anything on, and it is 64 degrees in this room. It couldn't be a better temperature in this room for storing cars. We built a concrete coffin. It's 62 downstairs, it's 64 up here. Always. It never changes. It's amazing how you can insulate a building so well like that. I bet it'll suck the life right out of this room if you turn the fans on. If it's cold in here and turn the fan on, it'll probably be freezing in here. So, the alley. Here's the back. This is our rear entrance here. The top of our ramp to the lower levels in the alley back here. Obviously, as you can see, this tarmac is a disaster. I will be repaving this entire alley at my own cost. Yeah, let's not talk about what that will be, but there's fresh asphalt here and there's fresh asphalt here. And what you're looking at there is our power trench. Those of you who listen to the podcast have heard me talk about the woes of connecting power to the building. It's got to come off that pole, and it's got to get into the building right here and go through this box. And so we had to go like that on a 90, and then we also had to go down this way on a 90. Our power and our fiber optic internet is going to be coming off of that pole. So there was a big problem on who was going to dig this trench. Was it going to be Edison, our utility company, or was it going to be us? Legally, only Edison could do it. Only a utility can dig a public road, and this is a public road. I don't own this, but I have to work on it. After months and months and months of back and forth, Edison signed a waiver and the city signed a waiver that said we could dig this ourselves if I put up a massive bond, which I did. Of course, once we started digging, we learned that this alley has different dirt in it than my property. You see, the last person to dig this alley backfilled it with beach sand. Like, took it from the beach and put it here. Now, you're supposed to use some sand. They use all sand. So as you would dig the trench, it would collapse in. Like if you're digging a hole at the beach, same thing. Dig, collapse, dig, collapse. So rather than one day of digging, trenching, filling, we had to dig out the sand, cart it away at our cost, put in shoring, which is walls underground to keep the thing from collapsing, and then backfill it with sand and slurry, which is a mixture of sand and concrete and dirt. And so rather than this job taking one day, it took 5. So as you see, this is where the delays come from. It's not because it's not because we messed up. It's you dig and you discover. and that, I mean, look, we didn't find any arrowheads, so there's that. You know, you find an arrowhead, you dig down here, it's a real problem, or something like that. But now that this trench has been dug, the conduit has been laid, and it has been inspected and approved, that starts a 45-day clock that they have to put a transformer on the pole, which gives us power. Without the transformer on the pole, can't finish the lifts, can't install the elevator. So when are they going to do it? Maybe Monday, maybe a week from now, maybe 2, maybe 45 days from now. No way to know. And guess what, folks? We got exactly the same problem with the water. Same problem, same trenching issues, same who's gonna do it, same back and forth, same this chess timer of clocks that go back and forth. It's the same bullshit, folks. And so there is a very real possibility that we could end up with a completely finished building that doesn't have water, if you can believe that. And it would have nothing to do with us because we applied for these permits over 7 months ago. And so that is my update from January 18th, 2020. As you can see, we're probably 95 to 96% done with this building. I really got that exact, 95 to 96%. I don't know, but we're almost done. We're so close. But just like when you're building a project car, you put the wheels on, you put the seats in, car sitting on the ground, looks done, but that thing ain't ready for a racetrack, is it, folks? And we still have a ways to go before we can open our doors to the general public. So thank you for listening to me ramble about construction for 25 minutes. I hope you found this interesting. I hope you come see us if you're in LA. And if you need somewhere to keep your prized possessions, I hope you hit me up at westsidecollectorcarstorage.com because I would be happy to care for these cars and make sports car ownership something you actually enjoy again, rather than something that is annoying and a headache. See you later.